Welcome back for another episode of Tech Tuesday!
It's Tuesday, so
it's tech.
That's the stuff we're gonna talk about.
Yeah, you know it.
Okay, so we definitely made it clear over the last 7 months that we've been doing this show.
Wow.
That we love virtual reality news, and we think it's gonna be a real big deal in the not-so-distant future.
We're gonna keep reporting on it until it actually happens, damn it.
Make this real!
Yeah.
But fact is, once these VR systems finally do hit the mass market, they're probably not gonna be very cheap.
Yeah, the headsets alone are gonna cost hundreds of dollars, and once you factor in other concepts like haptic gloves, vests, VR treadmills, and hydraulic seats, a truly immersive VR experience is gonna be prohibitively expensive for most people.
Yeah, which is why the idea of a VR theme park, where you just pay an entry fee and then get to have VR experiences using top-of-the-line equipment that you could never afford, is giving us a big virtual boner this week, thanks to The Void, a proposed VR theme park chain that people are calling laser tag on steroids, and they're comparing it to the holodeck from Star Trek.
Yeah, guests will get strapped into the Void's proprietary Rapture VR headset and haptic vest and run around with a gun in what looks like a really awesome immersive FPS game where the virtual world you're walking around and interacting with matches seamlessly to the actual physical room you're in, making it pretty much pointless.
Yeah, well, the room is just great.
I'm sure it'll look beautiful.
Anyway, they're also promising motion simulators that let you experience like flying a fighter jet or spacecraft or whatever, and fantasy experiences involving like swords and dragons and arrows and shit. Obviously, this promo video is just a proof of concept. None of this is actually real.
Yeah.
But if they manage to deliver on any of it, it's a pretty big deal.
I like the idea of like if they put you in a fighter jet cockpit and like you have to like learn how to start the plane. You actually like it's a full-on simulation, and you're in the VR and you crash it like 15 times.
Turns out flying planes is hard.
Yeah, it's really hard. That would be like terrifying. I would love that. I want to try that. Anyways, The Void's founder Ken Brettschneider cashed out of a cybersecurity business a few years back and decided to take his millions and spend it on a theme park called Evermore that would basically be a fully immersive interactive theater experience involving really detailed recreations of fantasy and historical settings. But along the way, he decided to go ahead and steer the project towards VR.
Yeah, the original idea sounded cool though.
Yeah.
But yeah, the experience that he envisions for The Void is so seamlessly immersive that he decided to build his own VR technology from scratch, since the frame rates, field of view, and body tracking options in existing VR systems just weren't enough.
He's shooting for summer 2016 to open the first Void location in Salt Lake City. Sure, they have nothing else to do there. Great. Followed by more and more around the country, but obviously that date could be pushed back or never happen at all.
Yeah, but I mean, we really hope it does actually happen. Even if it doesn't, hopefully what they learned during the whole trial and error process of developing something like this leads to other people and companies exploring the idea of a VR theme park even more.
Yeah, but speaking of things that will inevitably happen in the not so distant future, NASA has finally announced their intent to send manned missions to Mars within the next 20 to 30 years.
Yeah, this is great. It's going to take that long, or even longer, because of all the insane technical challenges that they need to overcome for this to be a reality. I mean, moon landings and space stations are child's play compared to the 140 million mile journey to Mars.
Whew, no pulling over to use the restroom on that either.
No.
Pissing right into the tube.
Fart into
using the fart tube.
Fart catcher.
Yeah. I still think that's bullshit. The Curiosity rover that's currently rolling around on Mars collecting data for NASA took 8.5 months to reach Mars. That's quite a long trip. The same journey with actual humans on board would require enough food and water to survive the journey and subsequent exploration of the planet, and would require protection from cosmic radiation and some way to stop the astronauts' muscles from wasting away in zero gravity.
Yeah, being in zero gravity is not good for your muscles.
Yeah,
your spine just sort of like
treadmill for like 12 hours a day.
They need that 2001 thing that just like spins.
Yeah, there you go.
Run up an endless.
Terrifying. They all know they're gonna die anyway. Just send them over.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the question of how or even if the astronauts could ever come back to Earth.
Probably not the first time around.
I mean, NASA is wisely not committing to any specifics about the plan at this point. They're basically just saying this is something they want to do, and they're actively exploring how to make it happen.
Yeah, they're also turning to the general public for ideas. Please help us. Crowdsourcing's the new hot thing.
Yeah.
NASA needs your help. So anyone with the scientific knowledge to contribute to the project can do so through NASA's website and potentially get paid for it if their ideas get adopted. It's like someone choking on an airplane and they're like, we need a doctor.
Yeah.
Is there a doctor on board? Is there a scientist out there that can help NASA, please?
This Kickstarter only needs $50 billion.
Yeah, we're gonna send someone to Mars, damn it.
Anyway, this is all decades away, but it's great to see NASA being proactive and forward-thinking about it, especially since that privately funded Mars One thing that was gonna send a bunch of civilian volunteers on a one-way trip to Mars in 2022 has basically been exposed as a total unorganized load of crap.
Yeah.
And probably just like a complete fraud.
It was just a scam, like all those people buying property on the moon.
Yeah.
But just as Mars travel is something we probably won't see to be viable in the short-term future, it looks like self-driving cars being the savior of the road also might be more far off than we originally thought.
Yeah, so there's about 50 self-driving cars currently roaming around here in the state of California, and in the last 7 or so months, 4 of them have gotten into car accidents.
Yeah.
The companies responsible for those cars, 3 of them were Google, 1 was from a company called Delphi, are all saying that their cars were not at fault in any of those accidents,
Yeah.
but regardless, 4 accidents out of 50 cars in 7 months is way higher than the national
I guarantee
average.
this is just other people crashing into these cars because they're like gawking at them. That guy's driving with no hands. Boom! Or it's like the Shell and Exxon are sending out like cars like in Mad Max to take these driverless cars off the road.
Take 'em out.
What a lovely day! Anyways, back to the actual news. A source who's knowledgeable about the specific accident reports say that all 4 accidents occurred at speeds of less than 10 miles an hour, which is also the area where self-driving cars still need the most work. Highway driving is pretty simple to program, but once a car gets on city streets, the number of variables increases a whole shit ton.
Yeah, a little boy's bouncy ball goes into the road.
People walking back and forth
Yeah.
with a giant pane of glass.
Yeah.
You know, all those old tropes.
Yeah. Of course, the sample size here is still really damn small. It's
Yeah.
50 cars, that's nothing. And the difference between the number of self-driving car accidents and normal car accidents might not be as big as they're presenting it, since a lot of people don't report minor accidents.
Yeah.
Also, driving around in California is basically like playing Minesweeper.
Yeah, it's pretty hard anyway.
Yeah.
But speaking of unmanned vehicles, the state of Illinois just approved the use of police drones to photograph car crashes and crime scenes, but they really don't like the word drones for some reason, so they're just calling them unmanned aircraft, which sounds even more sinister.
Well, I mean, you hear the word drone and you picture like a black and white video of like terrorists getting blown up and shit.
Well, that's it. This one's gonna be in color and HD, I'm sure.
I mean, they say that the aerial photographs from their flying things that aren't drones will cut down on how long roads are closed when an accident happens, which makes sense. That's cool. They're also saying that they're working closely with civil rights groups to ensure that the concerns about privacy are addressed.
Bullshit! First of all, Chicago is one of the most corrupt places in the country. Second of all, there is no way that they're just doing this for like really good means. This is gonna be terrifying. They're gonna strap a Glock to the end of one of these things and just go around picking people off, and that way you just like, oh, the robot did it. I don't know. The robot. Maybe it was a glitch.
So yeah, what they're initially presenting here is not a big deal, but it could very easily open the door to a dark future where flying police robots replace the actual police, and then they make a collective decision to enslave and destroy humanity, and then we have to send someone back in time to stop the drones from going up into the air.
Yeah, see?
But then when we get sent back, one of our friends gets sent back in the future, but he's part drone, spoiler alert, and we have to like fight and get him to turn back into a human.
So yeah, if your local municipality is toying around with the idea of getting police drones, I would say write a strong worded letter to whoever's in charge and be like, I don't think this is such a good idea. Yeah. Anyways, we're gonna be in London this week. We might possibly maybe have some time on Thursday if anyone wants to come out to a meetup. We're thinking somewhere near the Hyde Park area. I know it's a gigantic park, but we'll give you more details. Follow me on Twitter.
Play some
Ricky.
hide and seek in Hyde Park.
Yeah.
Come find us.
At RickyFTW.
At E. Dewberry.
And at Machinima ETC for updates. It's looking like tentatively 5:30 to 6 p.m. Thursday near Hyde Park. I'll even go into further detail. Probably at the Animals in War Memorial, because that's the closest thing I could find that's a...
Animals in War.
Yeah.
Our
We're going to
favorite.
celebrate the lives and deaths of animals that gave their lives and deaths to help save humanity. And meet you.
Jolly good.
Bring tea.